Welcome everybody to the OCC's What's Your Story instalment with Catherine Blackburn from Brilliant Travel. Morning, Catherine.
Good morning.
Morning. How are you?
Not too bad today, thank you.
Good, good, good. So welcome to the OCC. It's great to have you as part of the of our co-working club. So I'd like to dive straight in and ask you a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Catherine Blackburn. I'm a personal travel specialist with Brilliant Travel. That means that I can look after all your holiday needs, whether it's a staycation or a holiday at home, as we're now saying in the UK this year, or whether you're looking at travelling further afield, be it a package holiday or be it a tailor-made unique trip, I can help with all the planning.
Oh, okay, cool. So do you have any areas in the world that you particularly specialize in? I mean, I know obviously staying at home at the moment is probably top of the list, but where else in the world do you like to focus?
So my specialist areas are Canada, Alaska and Scandinavia. I've got a real passion for these countries. So
why is that in particular?
Canada, because I just fell in love with it. My first trip there was 22 years ago now, and just fell in love with the scenery and the people, and it's just amazing. And I've done about 14 trips since then. Okay. Over the years, I've spent hundreds of days there, and I've travelled from coast to coast, so I've got a real in-depth knowledge of the place.
Okay, so do you find with people inquiring about Canada that they want to do like train journeys, or is it wildlife encounters, or cruising on up to Alaska, or is it what kind of holidays do you put together for people going to Canada?
All of those. It's a real mixture. It's a real mixture. It depends on what people are looking for and who's traveling. So if you're a couple that's traveling and you've got a little bit of disposable income, then I highly recommend taking the Rocky Mountaineer train from Vancouver to the Rockies. And there's two routes that you can take on that route, either into Jasper or into Banff. That's a spectacular way of just sitting back, relaxing, and just watching the world go by. And you get a unique perspective on the area. If you're a family, then the train probably isn't the way to go, because there's not a lot of places for the children to go, and it's very long days, and in all honesty, they would get bored. There's no Wi-Fi on board the train, so
bad thing.
It's definitely not a bad thing, but sometimes when you've got children, it can be hard. You know, it would be hard on the train. Yeah. So for families, self-drives are just absolutely brilliant. You can just, have a car. The roads are big, wide and open, very easy for driving. And I would plan all of the itinerary with all the places to stop and the recommendations for things to do whilst you're there. Wildlife encounters can happen in the Rockies, just driving along, you can see bears at the side of the road and that kind of thing. If you want to actually guarantee some sightings, things like that, there's places to go like the Bear Lodge wildlife viewing areas. You can do whale watching trips. There's lots of options for that as well.
So do you also get a lot of inquiries for the East Coast as well?
Yes, often there are inquiries for the East Coast. Unless you've got family and friends there, it's often people that are going for sort of second-time travellers tend to go for the East Coast, because most people have heard of the Rockies and are like, we want to do the mountains, we want to do the lakes, we've heard of Lake Louise, we've heard of the Rockies, that kind of thing. And whilst they've heard of the cities in the East, they've not particularly necessarily heard of all the different locations. Apart from Niagara Falls, that's a very common stopover en route to the Rockies, and a stop in Toronto and to do Niagara Falls.
Okay, cool. And then you said you also specialise in Scandinavia as well. So do you do, excuse me, do you do trips to Christmas trips to Lapland, and do you do Northern Lights trips? And are there other things in Scandinavia that we should be looking at?
Absolutely. I mean, that they're the real common ones. The Lapland trips in December to go and see Father Christmas in his own home, and there's such a variety of ways of doing that. You can do a day trip. It's a really long trip, and your time there is very limited, so you get like little taster sessions of doing some of the outdoor activities, but you're talking literally 5 minutes on a dog sled or 5 minutes on a snowmobile, so not really very much time at all. And then you get your Santa experience, but you can do longer trips, 2, 3, even 4-night trips, where you get to do much longer excursions for the dog sledding and the snowmobiling, and you can go snowshoeing and go out in search of the Northern Lights. And then there are the Northern Lights trips, which happen in sort of, well, they happen, Northern Lights watching is actually available anytime from September through to April. And sometimes the best viewing is actually in the autumn and the spring, when you've got a little bit more of solar energy happening, and the skies aren't always as full of snow, whereas in that December time they're quite often very full of snow, so there's a lot of cloud cover, so they might be happening and you might not be able to spot them. But besides the winter experiences, there's some amazing summer experiences as well. So one of the reasons I love Scandinavia is because of the contrast with Canada. It's very similar. They don't have so much of the high mountains, but they've got amazing lakes. The fjords are just beautiful in Norway, and you can experience those by either driving or by driving up. By doing some driving or train rides, but also cruising. There's lots of cruise companies that travel up around the fjords, and one of the very fun ones to do is the Hurtigruten. Now, the Hurtigruten is actually the local sort of ferry kind of thing that a lot of the locals will take. So that sort of goes up the coast and stops in a lot more different places to the big cruise lines. So that's a really fun way of doing it. You can actually do the cruise. You can hop off for a couple of days and then board the next one if you really want to do that. Okay. Or you can just do a cruise that stops and comes back again.
So that's a really flexible cruise option then to make the most of your time there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant.
A lot of these little places you can't reach very easily by road. So some of them is, the cruise is the easiest way to get into some of the little smaller towns.
Yeah, cool. So I know you're part of Brilliant Travel, which is part of the Barhead Group, I think, is that right?
It is, yes. That's right.
So, I mean, obviously people who know me know that my background is also from a travel consultancy environment. Look what happened.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask, why in particular Brilliant Travel, and what is it in your background? Because obviously you've been in travel quite a long time. What is it that kind of made you feel that this was the right vehicle for you to operate as a travel consultant? And
so I've been in travel ever since I left school. Basically, I did a degree in travel and tourism, and I've had various jobs within the industry in lots of different areas. And I ended up working for a tour operator, tailor-making holidays to long-haul destinations: Canada, Alaska, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Far East, South Pacific, all those kinds of amazing destinations. Absolutely loved selling those trips. And then I had a few other sort of roles with different companies. So I started a family, so I was looking for more flexible working, and being in the sales role wasn't necessarily the role that I needed at the time. And then 3 years ago, I found myself, the job I was doing was an administration role, and it was relocating, and I wasn't able to go with it. So looking for a new position, and I was already self-employed at that stage. But I thought, right, okay, I really want to get back into selling those holidays to Canada, to Alaska, to Scandinavia, and to some of the other amazing places that we've got in the world, which people love traveling to, helping people make the most of their money, so that they've got lasting memories. And I discovered Brilliant Travel, which is the home working division of Barhead Travel, as you say. I chose that because there weren't any other Brilliant Travel consultants in my area. So it meant that I had a unique outlook. Yes, I would have to tell people who Brilliant Travel were, but there was lots of travel counsellors in the area, which would sort of mean competing with colleagues, really, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to go for somebody who was not as well known. And Brilliant Travel, Barhead Travel, it's the longest, it's the oldest operating travel agency up in Scotland. They've got a very, very long history of looking after their customers. They're a very, very solid company, and they do the whole range. So they've got the home working branch, but they've also got lots of actual branches of their own. So they understand it from all levels, and their backing and their security is very, very good. They won't let us operate with any suppliers who they think may not be financially stable. So that means that you, as a customer booking with me, have got 100% guarantee that, you know, we will financially protect you. And whilst we were still working with companies like Thomas Cook, when they did very sadly go under, all of the customers got their money back.
Right. Okay. So for you, Brilliant Travel adds, it gives you a USP, a niche in the marketplace, but it also gives you all that security and your customers the security of being part of a much larger organization.
Absolutely.
Where the suppliers are vetted, and you know that when you're talking to somebody about a destination, that you can be confident that you'll be able to deliver a complete solution for them.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah,
and the size of the business allows the contracting to go well, so you know that you're getting sort of the best deals in the marketplace.
Yeah. Well, that's important too, isn't it? Yeah. So I know we've talked about the Northern Hemisphere, the very north of the Northern Hemisphere, Arctic Circle. Yep. So what I'd also like to know is there anything else that kind of gets you out of bed in the morning apart from those what you would call your core destinations?
Do you know what? Every inquiry gets me excited, because, you know, I just love, you know, helping my customers to find the right destination for the right trip that is going to mean that they're going to have, you know, a really lovely holiday. You know, people work hard for their holidays, so when they go away, they want to know that they've had, you know, value for money. That it's created the experience and the memories that they were looking for, and that they've not had to spend the whole time going, oh, we hate it here, or, you know, this is awful, you know, sort of, all trying to get on the phone to me, to somebody else to sort it out. So every destination gets me excited, to be fair. But I really love those slightly little bit more complicated bookings, the tailor-made ones, the destinations that are further afield, that are harder for my customers to put together themselves.
Yeah, I must admit though, I would have said from my perspective now, and the stuff that's happened in 2020, is booking your own holiday is quite a risk these days. So how have you found the last 12 months with the world being shut down? I mean, I know you've been throughout the time that we've been in lockdown here in the UK. I mean, you've still been out networking. I've seen you've got such a positive attitude, and that will hold you in great stead moving forward, because people will remember that. But how have you found the last kind of, I suppose it's almost 15-18 months now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was the middle of March. It was actually Chipping Norton Buzz, the very first Chipping Norton Buzz. That is the day that sort of stands fast in my mind. I came out of Buzz. I didn't have any reception in the Buzz, and I came out and walked back to my car, and my phone just started going ping, 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 ping. and emails just kept coming through of, you know, destinations that were starting to close borders, and clients contacting me saying, oh, we're due to go in so many weeks, and what's happening with America, and will we be able to go, and all those kinds of things. And so it's a day that stands fast, and it's been really, really hard. Sort of initially just changing bookings, and then cancelling bookings and arranging the refunds back to the clients, and quite a lot of people moved their bookings forward onto 2021, and now those bookings have been cancelled and changed. And you know, it's been trying to manage customers' expectations. And for a while, you know, initially we all thought, didn't we, 3 weeks, a month, you know, this will all be done with, and we'll all be back to normal. And it's gone on further, and now we're sat here in June 2021, and the travel industry is in a rye. At the end of the day, there is light at the end of the tunnel, but we still don't know how long that tunnel actually is. And yes, there's some destinations that are opening up and you can go to them, but the experience of going to those destinations is not the same as it used to be. So and there's lots of added complications that you have to put in there. But staying positive, you know, like you say, the recommendation these days is to book with a travel agent. By booking with a travel agent, you're covered by your package travel regulations, which means if something goes wrong, you are entitled to that full refund. If you book directly with the airlines, a lot of them are still operating the flights, and therefore they will say, even to amber destinations, and they will say that you're not entitled to your money back. So it really does help using a travel agent. And I think I've answered the question.
Yes, yeah. No, I mean, I think you've covered that, because you kind of said, you know, it's been 2021's been a really tough year, because you know, we thought it was going to be a short period of time, but then it became much longer, and everybody's shifted their bookings or cancelled them, and then we've moved into 2021, and it's still ongoing. So so if everything was able to go back to some kind of normality, where do you see yourself and your business in the next 12 months? And are there any particular projects that you're working on within your business that are kind of keeping you going and making you get up every morning and feel really inspired to do stuff?
I mean, I'm just hoping that I can. So my business is actually, at the end of this week, my business is 3 years old. And thank you. And so
to be really celebrating that milestone. I think there's a really important milestone to celebrate.
Absolutely. And it feels, in some respects, it feels quite sort of a bit deflating, because it's 3 years old, and you know, for the last 15 months, I've not really earned any money at all. And I'm very lucky that I've had a few of the grants that have been available from the government and, you know, the local council, and that has enabled me to keep going. So, and I've got a supportive family as well, because otherwise I'm not sure I would still be sitting here. But so it feels a bit deflating, because I feel in one respect it's like it was at the start, you know, trying to find clients, but it's not. I've got lots of clients now. I've got lots of inquiries, which is really, really good. So now it's just a case of hoping that things move forward, which allow those clients, even the ones that have already booked and the ones that are looking at booking for next year, that allows them to be able to travel, which allows me to then be able to make some money. And for my and the one aim is for the balance sheet to show some positive growth, which is what I'm really, really looking for. But projects that I've got on at the moment. So as I've already said, I'm a Canada specialist. So through all the fabulous networking that I have done, I've met some amazing people, and I've republished my website with some changes. There's still quite a few more changes to come, and I've set aside tomorrow to try and get those sorted out. But besides that, the new website is there to focus on the fact that I love Canada, and that I've got lots of experience with Canada, and that, you know, I can really help you have the most amazing trip to Canada, whichever part of Canada you choose to travel to. So I'm actually going to be working with Andy Scott from Photo Hello.
Oh yes. Yeah.
And we're going to be working on some little videos to emphasize my experience and my time in Canada. So I'm actually quite excited about that at the moment. That's going quite well. And Brilliant Bear is also having some new animated videos, which I'm working on too. Okay. So they're the projects at the moment.
Brilliant Bear.
So Brilliant Bear, he should have come and joined me actually.
Have, yes.
I haven't got him handy. He's upstairs. Brilliant Bear is a little bear who likes to travel. Okay. So he goes with my customers on their holidays. You don't have to take him. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking you might be a customer and you don't really want to take a bear with you, then you don't have to take him. But if you'd like to take him, he's quite little. He stuffs in a pocket. He's, you know, and if you were to lose him, a lot of people say, oh, are you a bit worried about losing him? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. But he's a lovely little bear, and he goes with you on holiday. And the idea is that you take photos of him with you on holiday or in various locations. And when you come back, you send me those photos, and then I create a little storyboard of his trips.
Yeah.
And so he's got his own Facebook page, Brilliant Bear, and as I say, he's now got he's got some animations, and we're working on some more animations for him as well.
So is Brilliant Bear something that you've created for yourself, or is that something that Barhead Travel have inspired?
Well, actually, one of my other brilliant travel colleagues, actually up in Scotland, she had a Brilliant Bear. Her bear was actually a little bit bigger, and her bear goes with families mainly.
Okay. Yeah.
But I just liked the idea of it. I just thought it was a really lovely, like, little marketing idea. And the first clients that actually took him was actually the head teacher of my daughter's school, who'd gone to Paris, and she'd organised this trip as a surprise. It was a surprise trip for her best friend for her 50th birthday, and this friend didn't have a clue that they were. All she knew was the husband had said we're going away somewhere. She didn't have a clue where she was going, and it was only when she arrived at the airport that, you know, this friend was there. They took some amazing pictures with Brilliant Bear. So it isn't just for the families. It's for everybody. You know, some clients get absolutely, you know, engrossed in the whole idea of Brilliant Bear, and others, you know, there was one trip he actually ended up staying at home because they forgot to take him. And
so
there was another where he did and there was another where he went to the destination, but the clients kept forgetting to take him with them when they were going out everywhere. So they got some photos with him, but it's just a little bit of fun.
Yeah, I think it's a really brilliant marketing plan, and it keeps your customers engaged, and it makes their trips more memorable, and they're not just thinking about themselves, they're thinking about your business all the time while it's there. So I think it's a really clever marketing tool. I think you should be really, really, really chuffed that you've got that. Now that you've got Andy coming on board to help you with some short animations, that will supercharge your Brilliant Bear campaign, really.
That's it. I mean, I say he's already done 4, but we haven't had a new one since Christmas. Partly because I was waiting for Brilliant Bear. He speaks. He's got a voice.
Okay.
But it's not my own voice. It's one that I've borrowed. So I was waiting for the audio to be created. And then it was down. Obviously, it's a cost as well, so I had to wait until I could afford to redo them. So,
no, brilliant. I think that's an amazing place to actually end chatting around your business. I think you should be really proud of yourself. And I know how tough the last few months have been. And I think your positive attitude, and when you were talking to me about Brilliant Bear, your face just exploded with enthusiasm. So, and I think, and I think as you know, as a potential customer, all of that positivity that comes across when you're talking to me about your destinations and the things you're doing in your business will mean that when we, you know, once we can book holidays, your business will fly. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens to you and your journey with us on the OCC. So, you know, congratulations on 3 years old, and
thank you.
here's to the next year, and you'll be soaring.
Brilliant. Thank you, James.
You're very welcome. Thanks, Catherine.